Good morning. I've been asked by John Hudson Fort to talk to you today about my love for Cajun food and Cajun cooking and how I know so much about it. I live in El Dorado, Arkansas, which is about 20 minutes from Louisiana and about 35 minutes from the nearest bayou. Now, bayous are important to Cajun food because that's where it all began. We get it from the French settlers that settled in along the bayous of Louisiana. They brought their love of the French cooking and then they used the resources that they gathered from Louisiana and turned it into what we call Cajun food today. My mom, I grew up with my mom's Cajun recipes. I grew up around many Cajuns. It's funny, crawfish, which is a big staple in Cajun cooking, that's also what we use to get together and have big parties called crawfish boils. We get them live from Louisiana, we bring them back here to Arkansas, and it's a way for us to congregate and have fellowship. So, Cajun food. Now, there's a lot of complex flavors in Cajun food, but the Holy Trinity and what everything starts with are three ingredients: onions, bell pepper, and celery. Without onions, bell pepper, and celery, you don't have Cajun food. It's called the Holy Trinity of Cajun food. And what we do is, I'm going to share with you today my mother's recipe for crawfish etouffee. And it's funny because my mother loved to entertain, and she loves everything. She'll cook crawfish, she'll pick crawfish, do anything, but she won't eat a crawfish to save her life. But we're glad that she shared her cooking with us because this is what we have today. And what we do is we start with butter, lots of butter, and we saute chopped. What are those three Trinity? The Trinity of Cajun food again. We chop onion, celery, and bell pepper, and we saute that in a pan. And about the time it's getting clear, we make what we call a roux. And roux is very important in Cajun cooking too. Roux is a process where we slowly incorporate flour into our mixture that's going to allow it to thicken up. So you take your flour, you slowly whisk that in, and you have this beautiful smell and this beautiful color. Then, after you've made the perfect roux, we add stock, seafood stock. Now, it's going to be hard for a lot of people to get seafood stock or even know what it is. But around here, all we do is we take our leftover shells, seashells, shrimp shells, crawfish shells, anything like that, and we boil them after we use them. And then we do, freeze the stock and we pull it out and it's ready for us. Well, after that, and after you've gotten your roux and everything, now here's what makes Cajun food Cajun. All different flavors, different types of peppers. So take you some white pepper, some black pepper, some cayenne, some salt. Get some basil leaves, some thyme. Throw all that in a pot. Then you're going to let that simmer. And while that's simmering, another huge staple in Cajun cooking is rice. Most of the meals in Cajun cooking consist of three pots. A pot of vegetables, whatever's abundant and whatever's in season, a pot of white cooked rice, and then a pot of something like crawfish etouffee or the likes thereof. Well, my mom went a step ahead. While her crawfish etouffee was simmering and getting all those spices and everything melded and all those wonderful seasonings and everything, well, Mother would turn her rice into something we call dirty rice. It doesn't get better than dirty rice. But my mother was pretty innovative because instead of just putting a circle spot of white rice, she turned her rice into dirty rice. Now, how do you do that? We begin with our Holy Trinity. You get you some butter and you get you some celery, onion, bell pepper, and you stir all that in until it gets good and crystal clear. And then you throw off some sausage. Whatever you've got. It could be andouille, it could be just smoked sausage, ground sausage, whatever, and get all that going. And then You add your seasonings, your cayenne pepper, white pepper, black pepper, salt, garlic, whatever else you want to add. Then add just your plain white rice, and that turns into something we call dirty rice. That's good eating right there. That's good eating. Now, I want to leave you with this. A lot of people confuse Cajun food with Creole food. And I just want to talk a minute, a couple of seconds about the difference between Cajun food and Creole food. Yes, it is similar. But Creole food is a city food that was developed in New Orleans. They use a lot of the same spices and a lot of the same practices, but Creole food was for a city class of people, whereas Cajun food and what I grew up on was developed in what they call the country area in the bayous, like where the French settled. So I encourage you, if you want to do something further research, to further research Creole. They use a lot more tomatoes, and there's a lot of their stocks are tomato based, whereas ours are not. But I just encourage you, if you want to know the difference, but don't confuse the New Orleans Creole food with what we call down home Cajun food. Now, I guess I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have learned something about Cajun food, and I hope that you go home and make some dirty rice or some crawfish etouffee.